So Diane, most news stars do one thing really, really well, but you do it all. You could do an interview with the president of Iran or Syria one day, and the next day you're on Good Morning America doing a lighter section. Which do you prefer at this point in your career, or both?
I think doing both is probably what keeps you going, because some of them are like taking a holiday. I remember always loving that. There's a line in Camelot, or in the Once and Future King, in which I guess it's Merlin who says, every now and then you have to take a holiday from thinking. And some of them are just a holiday from thinking, to get to dangle from Cirque du Soleil or do that kind of thing. But where I live, in my heart, what I think I feel is my purpose is the harder stuff, the investigative, whether it's a poverty special or Ahmadinejad. Now, if I can get Ahmadinejad to dangle from Cirque du Soleil
You've done that. You've done
me,
that. But your poverty special, which everybody was very nervous about, because that's been an area that's been kind of overlooked recently in America. You went into, I think, New Jersey.
We went into Camden.
And you really dived into it, and it also performed well on the air. People were interested. It was...
People came, and younger people came. And I think everybody was a little, was thrilled to see that everybody wanted to come and learn more about what it is daily to be in poverty in America. It's one thing to read those statistics that we read over and over again, but what is it when you get up in the morning? What is it when you go to school, and the little kid who went to school for the very first time, his first day, I don't know if you remember this, but the principal came in to greet him and ask him about what he eats every day for his 3 meals, and he didn't know that there were 3 meals a day. He didn't know how to name them.
So there's a lot of pressure. I know this because I put some of it on. Ratings. A lot of news operations are getting very exploitative, tabloid-ish. How do you sell your bosses, and how do you deliver important specials? Like an hour on poverty would appear on the surface to be almost non-saleable to an advertiser. After the fact, sometimes they do work. But do we have enough of that? Can you get that done? Is ABC receptive to it? Does David Weston say, yes, we'll do it? Or it says, oh, come on, Diane, not another important special. How does that work?
Not only did he say yes, but he's letting me do it again. I'm coming back soon with more. And he also let me do something I'd always wanted to do, which is do a multi-platform event on foster care, which I really think is one of the great shames in American life, that you have little kids who've already been so battered by life having to live in 14 homes by the time they're 10 years old.
And most people in America are either overlook that or not aware of it, and you were diving into it. You, coming from Kentucky and being involved just in life, this was not something you were headed toward, right?
No, I had all these lofty ideas. Well, the first thing I wanted to do was clean windows for a living, because I'm
like
serious.
To look out?
I've actually written a little essay as a little girl about wanting to clean windows because I thought it was so satisfying. And then I wanted to do the Foreign Service and all of those things you read in books and have no idea what you really wanted to do.
Did you slide into things like you went to Wellesley, that's not sliding into it, but then you go to a television station and you do the weather and you do...
horribly, I may say. What I didn't realize is how seriously everybody takes the weather, because I didn't really know anything about it, and you may or may not know.
Did you make it up, or did you like look
Well,
at
I didn't have any contact lenses, and I didn't want to wear glasses. I was too vain, and so I couldn't really even see the west coast of the map. So I would sort of improvise my feeling about the weather on the West Coast every day, and it never occurred to me how important it was day to day for everybody until I started getting these letters about seriousing up and trying to do it straight. But it was clear that it was not, I was an absent-minded, nearsighted weather
So is that
woman.
why you went from the weather to the White House? Because there was alliteration? Or
Well, I actually...
Why did you go from the weather to the White House?
I went from weather because I wanted to get out of doing the weather. The day that I said on the air, let's see what I said. I said the high temperature for the day is 69 and the current temperature is 78.
That's not good.
And everybody went, huh? And they came to me and said, you want to try news? Want to do some news? And I'd been persuading the news director anyway to let me go out and do something. So he let me freelance on a couple of things to see if I could do it.
And were you better at the news and the weather?
I felt I was better at the news. I did start out like a Tom and Jerry cartoon pretty much in the beginning because...
But you left television then and went to the White House. You got a job.
I left television because I couldn't stand anymore being on what I thought was the constantly harping, critical, naysaying part of American democracy. And I thought, I'm going to go and see what it's like to try to get something done from inside out and see what I learn on that side.
So at that point, your television career was, you thought, over, done. You were going to be a young Republican or a young political advocate or whatever, and you went to work in the press department at the White House.
I didn't have a plan. Did you have a career plan?
No, I got a job.
You got a job.
I got a job. You know, you go for an interview, and the person would start lecturing you about his great industry he's in, and you would think to yourself, just offer me a job. I don't want to hear about your industry. I just want a job. Right. So that's what you were about, getting a job.
Getting a job.
But the White House is a good place to get a job. It's not like, you know.
And then letting your curiosity drive you to the thing you want to do, because that's all I know of career planning. Get the job.
Right, so you get a job in the White House, and people later thought that maybe you were deep throat. And in fact, not only were you not deep throat, but you were loyal and discreet. You were not one of those people who runs and writes a book right away.
But I have to tell you, I had been having a really bad week. I can't remember what it was, but it was one bruising upheaval after the other. And I'm thinking, what more can happen? And I get up, and on the front page of a Newburgh tabloid is someone who was, I think, on his deathbed, said, and by the way, guess who's deep throat, and named me. And I thought, well, this is it. I've had a bad hair day, and I've just been named as deep throat.
And you were supposedly dressing up as a man in a garage smoking a cigarette?
As a man in a garage with a cigarette and moving potted plants around. And again, going, you know, half of the people who worked then around me had no idea of Watergate deep throat. That had long since become ancient history. And for one brief shining moment, they thought it was the porn movie. And so I have never been so admired in my life as the kids who thought, she was deep throat.
Wow. And she's moved on to be 16 Minutes.